Welcome to the Building Elements module on Windows. This module will introduce you to the various types of windows used in residential construction. It will discuss different framing and hinging techniques and explain basic construction for timber, steel, and aluminum windows. In the associated reading, you should focus on the different window types. It will be important to be able to identify these window types so that we can focus on the constituent parts as well as the construction of these windows. Moving forward, pay close attention to the drawings alongside the text. It will help you make sense of what's written in the text and will give you a better idea to remember the different parts of the window type. For example, here we have the discussion of different parts of a casement window, including the head, the frame, the post, the sill, and the hinge, etc. These parts are important to remember because they will not only relate to this particular window type, but other different window types as well. After the discussion of the casement window, we'll come across a similar discussion for pivoted windows as well as sliding windows. A lot of the terms would be similar across the different window types, but each one will have something unique, so you should be able to identify the different parts of the window so that we can understand the assembly and construction of them. Also look through the different composite windows that are made out of a combination of these different pivoted, hinged, or sliding windows. Once we've identified and remembered all the parts of the window, we want to focus on the construction of the window itself. This will begin with a focus on the window frame. Focusing on the timber casement window, we try to understand how the casement fits inside the frame, particularly looking at the rebate and jamb assembly. Once again, the focus here is mostly on trying to understand and remember the different parts of the frame and the window itself. You will notice in the reading that there are different sizes given for the different parts of the window. You don't need to remember the sizes just yet because these will be discussed in your drawing exercises. But it is important to note that all of these parts are made out of standard timber sizes, and these will define what the frame and casement look and feel like. There is a comb joint discussed here, but a lot of the other details will be based on a mortise and tenon joint. So you should be able to understand what a mortise and tenon joint is and how it is used, particularly in the construction of both the frame and the casement of a window. In the design and construction of the window, you'll also come across smaller details like weather stripping and focusing on how these windows are attached to the wall. You will also look at the use of metal lugs. Moving on from timber windows, we'll focus on metal casement windows. Once again, you don't need to remember the sizes, but you should be able to identify the unique shape of these Z sections and W20 sections that are used for windows. Once you've understood the logic of a casement window in timber, should be able to understand the same thing happening for a steel or metal casement window. Here, the Z sections mimic the rebate and jamb of a window frame, and the two Z sections fit into each other. Similar logic will apply for the aluminium casement window, which more closely mimics the shape of a timber casement as well as a frame. Considering the unique properties of aluminium as a material, these are extruded in very unique shapes, which also account for a glazing gasket or a thermal break to become part of the window framing. There's a small discussion on sealants which will help weatherproof a window, and you should look through that quickly. Once you've understood the basic framework of how the rebate and jamb system works for the construction of the frame and the casement of a window, the similar ideas can be extended to identifying the workings of a pivoted window as well as a sliding window. Once again, these will not be discussed or tested in considerable detail, but you should be able to identify visually what the different parts of these windows are. Particularly in the case of a sliding vertical sash window, the use of the sash cordon weight on the side is an important detail that you should be able to focus on. The purpose of this section is mostly to be able to identify the different parts of the window and understand the assembly of both frame and the casement. Thank you and see you in the next module.